Hey, Rox here. So, GG's to Houston, LA, Baltimore, and Detroit. You have joined the rest of us in mock draft season, and that's what we're going to do. It is this order. PFF pretty quick to update. Shout out to them. And we're going to kind of go through what maybe not what I do, but what could potentially happen in this universe. We're going to start drafting in this universe, okay? Deion Sanders gets hired as head coach of Dallas, and he puts a memo out, finely typed, and says, don't draft my kid. All right? Don't touch him. We'll pick him in the third round. And I think teams are going to look at that and like, well, do we want to get caught in like a Bo Jackson situation? Take him, and then he won't be able to play for a year for us when we waste our pick. That kind of situation. Or do we let just Deion have his kid and let him also get a couple of high-end picks where Shedeur would probably have gotten picked anyways? We'll see. Now, obviously, Deion could be like, well, maybe I want to funnel as much money to my kid as possible, so I should pick him 12. But in this scenario, Shedeur's a third-round pick for us, okay? And that's what we're playing out. No trades this time. We did a trade. If you want to see a trade mock draft, check the last one. There's a lot of teams that I would absolutely trade if I'm those teams. But first up, we are getting a new quarterback for Tennessee. I feel like 90% of mocks have that. Whether whoever you choose as your favorite quarterback, Cam Ward, Shedeur, like we talked about, Jalen Milroe for his intangibles. It's going to be really hard for the New York Giants not to come out of this with a quarterback, seeing as they're all on, like, it's not just a hot seat. It's like 10 meters from the sun seat. So that's going to be kind of weird. Like, they'd be an ideal one to move up to one. If Titans decide, hey, our entire roster is trash, let's move down. Moving on to Cleveland. Now, my roster building philosophy might be a little different than a lot of others, and that's why I'm going to kind of get into it here. It's like, when I think of football, I want a team that has, well, an identity, right? I want to either get after the pass or be like a run-focused team, pass-focused, that kind of thing. So if I'm Cleveland, I'm looking at that. Yeah, sure, I need a quarterback. Shedeur's not available. Pretty good spot to trade back. But, like, if I've got a good edge rusher, Myles Garrett, right? Very average run defender is he. I would never vote for him for Defensive Player of the Year. He's robbed very, very deserving people. And I would go ahead and be like, you know what? Screw you, pass rushers. I'm going to have to, like, Abdul Carter, a lot of people's number one talent in the draft, if it's not Travis Hunter, and just double down on it, right? Just take a McChicken, take a double quarter pounder, stack them on top, and let's get after that and do that to the quarterback. So, the Giants, they're kind of in a tough position. Now, in my universe, I don't think Deion can basically say, hey, don't draft Travis Hunter either. I don't think he's going to take the money away from him. I think Travis is going to get drafted as high as possible. So, I think in this situation, if the Giants aren't able to go up, get their guy, or trade for a guy, like, okay, so if you're Minnesota, would you trade J.J. McCarthy for the number 3 overall pick? Because I know they said, Sam Darnold, thanks for your service and all that stuff. But would you run it back with Sam and the number 3 where you can get one of these players? Or is it just JJ going forward? Because I feel like the Giants would be willing to do that. Like, who else is out there that the Giants could potentially trade number 3 pick for as far as a young quarterback with talent that the other team would be, like, chill with? Like, now, obviously, Chargers fans are like, yeah, give away Herbert for that. I've seen people say that stuff. That's kind of crazy. But I wouldn't do that if I'm the Chargers. But I don't think that's even the realm of possibility. But that's why you don't listen to fans, because you end up amongst them. But I guess if you're the Giants here, just take who you think's the best. Travis Hunter. You need talent in your squad. Grab a guy that can help you on both sides. Got lots of talent for you. New England. Okay. Now, New England's in a very precarious situation as they need help all across the offense. Not a single position outside of quarterback is set, but you got the best position, right? That's such a good spot to be in. Now, tackle guard, there's a lot of arguments about tackles not being worth the pick. That's fine. We'll see, of course, the change. Big boards are all up in the air right now. I'm going to give him Josh Simmons. It's a prime spot to trade down if somebody wants one of these top talents here, is like the blue chippers. And I think Josh Simmons, if he didn't get hurt, he would very well be right here because he looked like he was just like chilling. He was like really good at tackle going against some pretty good edges throughout, not only in practice, as they got a potential 2 first-round draft picks in practice here at Ohio State's edges, But also, the Big Ten generally turns out a few of them themselves. So, on to Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville. I was talking about with Cleveland, like, build your strengths, okay? Build what you can do well. And you hope Trevor Lawrence is that guy. And, they got a whole lot of things here. Center, guard, defensive interior. Yeah, sure, that's great. Protect them. Go like that. Defensive interior. You absolutely need that. Cornerback, great. But you know what? We're doubling down on strength. Yeah, like, you won't be able to, good luck. I mean, they'll still try and double Thomas and everything. But, like, having Tet out there across of it, give a couple options for your quarterback there next season. And, like, say, hey, get the ball out. These guys are getting open. Tet is like a lot like a Drake London type receiver. Big body. Can actually get open. Does a pretty good job. So you have, one getting over the top with insane like 4.3 speed at 6'3". Was it 6'3" something measured? Anyways, you got two big bodies doing like foundationally different things, but also can do each other's job really well too. I think that's awesome. Doubling my strength. Now I'm going to keep it going. All right, you're like, no. Las Vegas, look at all these needs. Quarterback, not available. Shedeur's not there. Yeah, you can go ahead and get Milrow if you want to develop him. Running back, everybody's saying get Genty now, but I don't really love your offensive line like that because I feel like running backs are force multipliers. Like you see with Saquon, like they drafted him high in New York, and he was like all right. He suffered some injuries and stuff, but he didn't really take off and become like one of the greatest of all time, at least this season, greatest of all time, 8th most rushing yards ever. Until you got behind a good offensive line. So that's where I would rather build off the offensive line. And I'm not saying the Raiders are trash there. They're fine, I guess. The JPJ had a very good rookie year, etc. But, like, I think double down, become like the New York Giants when they were winning Super Bowls. They got Eli Manning there. Mason Graham, right? Because now you got, got Coots coming back. So you have, like, two solid edges. Tyree is, And then now you have... Wilkins, yeah, it took me a second. Wilkins next to Graham on the interior, plow ahead with it, man. Just plow it straight ahead. So I think the inability to like really focus and double team Crosby will help out that defense tremendously, and then you can like fill it in with a lot of other average players. Otherwise, versus like say getting Will Johnson. Now you got one guy there at the DB that could like be a shutdown DB. You got a guy that's getting doubled. You obviously got like Wilkins coming back, and so like you got that like potential there. But I feel like you're kind of mixed around. Whereas if you're absolutely dominant against offensive linemen, and then you have worser CBs, I feel like that's maybe more impactful to the defense. But we'll see what happens. The Jets, quarterback, defensive interior, defensive back is what they need, and that's kind of what I went for them, right? They might be losing one in free agency, so we'll give them another nice long one, right? Will Johnson, because Sauce ended up near the end of the year coming back on and becoming the Sauce that we all kind of remember him being. So getting Will Johnson, getting two guys on the outside that can dominate some receivers, really, like I said, double down on those strengths, since what you truly need is up in the air. I don't think Rodgers is coming back. Carolina. Defensive line, defensive back. I would say receivers definitely a need here too. This is gonna be weird, but like, am I gonna go 3 Michiganers in a row? I don't know why I get so streaky at things at times. But like, it maybe didn't help Tennessee having 2 dominant interiors. But having the ability to basically say, all right, figure out something else. You're not going out here with the return of Brown next year. I think Kenneth Grant is going to like maybe go up on draft boards after the combine if he tests, because I think he'll test well. The problem is like his motor runs hot and cold. But having 2 interiors that can collapse the pocket, stop the run, help out your defense, because I would love to help out my third year, I guess, next year quarterback, get someone like Luther Burden. I don't know. I just felt like Kenneth Grant, like he's almost getting overlooked a lot of times now in draft circles, and I feel like he's a little disrespected and he should go pretty high, but you know what? We'll see. Maybe something happens that I don't know of, or character concerns happen and he falls down further. It always happens. All right, the Saints. You might have Honey Badger walking away from you. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive line. I just don't think the Saints are really set up for great success next year. Something's got to happen. Carr, I think, is like the Dalton line of quarterbacks. So he can win you some stuff, but like I feel like he's gonna stick you in the middle of the draft order again next year, based off how you're set up. I kind of want to like I don't know. Let's go Starks right here. I had a hard time for the Saints when I was thinking through them, like what I want to do for them. Now I might be a little bit lower on Starks than maybe he's here. I've watched a bit of his tape, but not all of it yet, and I kind of want to go back because they've remained very high on him, and people are loving him. So a top 10 pick on a safety is a stretch for me. But that if you got him on your board as a blue chip prospect, right? They had him at what was it, number 7? You might want to do that because you got to just add talent, right? You just start adding pieces that are quality football players to your squad, and you end up, hey, look at that, we got a good squad. Here we go. Chicago. I give them Will Campbell. I think Will Campbell falling to them is perfect for them. They can move him inside. I still think he could potentially play tackle, try him out there. I know he's got like shorter arms, right? He's out there like a T-Rex, but he's a very intelligent offensive lineman, calling out the blitzes and stuff there for LSU. But I'm not going to do what I did previously. I'm going to go ahead and give them another edge rusher, right? We've babied Caleb too long. We're not going to help you out, buddy. Get the ball out quicker. And maybe he will get it out when Ben Johnson's his head coach. Maybe this week. We'll see. San Francisco. Now, this is something that I have given offensive lineman to, and I'm going to do it again. You're gonna win the Will Campbell sweepstakes for me. Tackle, guard, just yes on Will. Help out Brock and friends. Hopefully you get your weapons back healthy next year. However long it's going to take Ayuk and friends to come back. But Will Campbell, build from the trenches. Shanahan, his dad was known for great mobile lineman, and his son is maybe known for having just a great offensive scheme, over routes, getting the ball out, getting it to his playmakers. And I guess he's not really known as well for the offensive line. It's like getting away with a bad offensive line. It's kind of like him and his protege, Mike down there in Miami. Mike. They're kind of like, yo, I could just scheme it with no O-line, man. Just give me a left tackle, I'm good, bro. But you saw what happened with Tua, him being injury prone, getting hit like that if he doesn't get the ball out in 2 seconds. I'm rambling now. Dallas. Genti is like the obvious choice, and a lot of people give it to them. But Shedeur and Deion are there, and I think they're going to go, yo, give me an outlet. Now, obviously a good running back helps, but I feel like it might be a little bit of a Dan Marino thing. Everybody was always like, yo, did Dan not want halfbacks in his offense to take the ball away so that we had to hand it off? We're going to go with the wide receiver. We're going to do Luther Burden, somebody that is very good with the ball in his hands, a more a rack-type receiver. Now, he can go up and get it. Don't get me wrong. You can see him down the sidelines, catch some good balls down there. Don't worry. He's fine at that, too. The personality might be a little polarizing from what I've heard. Obviously, I've never met the man. I've never been, spit in the face by him. But that's just like the internet doing its internet thing. So maybe he's a saint and I just don't know it. So with that, Miami. I think Miami is going to take... Now, the highest rated one on this board is Kelvin Banks. He's a little bit of a brick wall. He's just a big dude. 6'4", 320, big back, right? I really love broad-shouldered linemen, both defense and offense. Give me the guys, because that's how you know they're they work out, bro. They're out there doing rows and stuff. They're out there squatting, cleaning, all that good stuff. But you want a guy that can move a little bit better. Now, Armon is short, but I think the arms might be long enough. And he actually moves because he's also a little bit of a thicker dude for being shorter. He also, young, 20.8. I like the way he moved out there. And I feel like in an offense like Miami with a lot of movement that's required of the offensive line, I kind of want Armon, even being not the prototypical 6'5" and above tackle. The Colts, we bleed blue. First round picks for him is kind of tough to stack down. Ballard here I'm talking about. I think it's going to be Stewart, right? He's an RAS fiend in Indy. I think Stewart, I kind of want to repeat, bro. If he can give us we got the best edge in the draft at number 14. Give us like back-to-back years of it, even though like that'll be hard to compare there. I want to repeat, man. Like Latu struggled, but we knew he was like a more of a finesse guy. But he did okay when he played. He's just a rookie, man. He's just learning. You can't really judge a guy off his first year. So having the ability to go back-to-back at his position of importance on the defense, give me Shamar, and then later on he can just take like a 9.5 RS DB to help out in the secondary and in later rounds. Tight end, obviously, I've given him Tyler Warren in previous drafts, but I don't want to do that again. Just to throw the old change-up Greg Maddox style at you. As it gets boring for people when they get the same picks over and over. So Shamar Stewart, this guy, 6'6", 290, and he actually moves pretty good for that weight too. I like the Texas A&M defensive line. We got how many they got in the draft? Scorton. The reason why is like it feels like they hustle, dude. I really enjoy watching them. It looks like they are absolute ball players that enjoy the sport of ball. Like they are getting after it on a down-to-down basis. And those are the kind of edge rushers that I really enjoy. So Shamar Stewart, man, he might be above that when the actual draft comes along because his tape's kind of fun. Now, a little raw, right? But whatever. Falcons. Everybody's raw at one point. Join us on Monday night. All right, the Falcons. It says wide receiver, so it's in play, I guess, but I don't know. We're fully out on Pitts, right? Tell me we're not drafting Pitts in fantasy again. I don't know, man. Weapons? I think they're like these positions, sure, but this position, give me defensive line 100% of the time. Mike Green is a really good, more finesse type rusher. I don't know if I want a finesse. Maybe just Michael staying home. Michael, obviously, he's not like an overload, but like what did I say in my notes about it? I think I said something about, if I recall correctly, that I loved how strong he was. Yeah, for his size. 6'5", 265. That's a big dude still. Don't get me wrong, but like he looks thinner out there, and I love the way this plays run defense. So we're gonna go Michael Williams. And we're going to go ahead and see, like we all saw Jared Verse and how dominant he is for the Rams this year, right? Michael Williams, pretty freaking, I wouldn't say like, I'm not going to promise Jared Verse or nothing, but similar type, power defensive end. Not really a technician in the pass rush, though. And he doesn't really have like elite level burst from what I saw in film. Now we'll see, of course, what he does at the combine, but, I think he does really good getting good leverage there against the run and uses power well. So, we're on to the Cardinals, okay? Just like the Pirates are going to say in a little bit, is it baseball season? Because the Steelers are over. All right, Cardinals. I got them this time going to offensive line. I'm going to go Josh Connerly. There are, like I said, options here. Kelvin Banks. Calvin Banks is good, don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know. I think Connerly played well enough and moved well enough that I'm going to take him for the Cardinals. And that's all I want to say about it. It's hard to describe the different situations and everything, but I thought they both are good. Let me look at my notes for both of them again. Looks athletic and moves well on tape is what I got on my first line for Connerly. Technique needs to get better. Leans a little outwards with his arms, that kind of stuff. But Banks, a little bit better of a run blocker. It felt like as good in the pass block for Banks from what I saw on the few games I watched. But you guys let me know what you guys saw on film. The Texas Fiends. Next up on my list, 17. So the Bengals, I don't know. It feels like they're still in pole position for T. Higgins. They could use interior offensive line, no doubt. Defensive line, for sure. Mike Green to help out, get a little bit of pressure. So many signs for Hendrickson, sure. That's there. I'm going to go Tyler Ward. I think Gesicki's a free agent. Eric All is like busted his knee years in a row. He's not. You can't rely on that at all. Just like they made that decision a few years ago where they went Chase or Penei Sewell. Everyone's like, oh, which one? Which one? Do it again. Push your chips in the middle. I mean, you took a tackle last year at 19th overall. Mims, he actually had a really good year, I thought, for the Rook, as long as he stays healthy. Push it in. Nothing but weapons everywhere. Just playmakers, a tall one. Warren helps out your run blocking, too. You can get him in there to help chip, to help slow down the pass rush also. So he's kind of, the do-everything gadget. You can also, if Burrow's arm sore a little bit, bring him in for a couple reps at quarterback since he played it and threw a little bit of it in college. Number 18. Now, I actually don't know why they moved Jalen Walker all the way down to 52 on the big board. They must have seen something that they really hated. He's still a crazy athlete, both off the ball or off the edge. Two positions that the Seahawks need. Jalen Walker could fill either one of them. I almost wonder if he's going to go back up if he has like an insane combine. Now, he was raw. You could definitely see on film his pass rush moves weren't exactly moves. They were just kind of like, hey, look at me, I'm an athlete. So I feel like it's easier to teach moves than it is to teach a guy to get bigger, faster, stronger. So we're still going to keep Jalen Walker in our first round. And I think that the Seahawks getting him is, just get athletes, get top tier, right? That they did with Tariq Woolen. Look how that handled. All right, Bucks up next. Edge, linebacker, DB. Mike Green's on the board. Beautiful. I'm going to give them Benjamin Morrison, though. Give them a cornerback, help out in their secondary, and roll with Benjamin Morrison. Now, he might even go back to college. That's the biggest question about Ben Morrison right there. But yeah, obviously, I think PFF kind of has it right. Like, their offense doesn't really need help. I know people were saying maybe tight end, but you got Otten coming on. I think Godwin might sign again. McMillan stepped up there with like 50 million touchdowns in the last 5 games, approximately. Evans hit his 1,000-yard season. He'll come back. It feels like he's inevitable. Just get on a couple infinity rings. He's already got 4 of them. The Broncos. Okay, let's talk about earlier about force multipliers with running backs. Broncos have top 5 line in the league. They're in a very similar situation. I like it. Yeah, I'd say top 5. Very similar situation. Maybe not as good as the Lions were a few years ago when they went with Gibbs and I was like, oh my God, Gibbs in the first round. What are you doing this high? You're crazy. And then look at now, Gibbs is like changing lives. Now, obviously the Lions still lost, but Gibbs is looking great. So I feel like they do need a tight end. Everybody's top one now, I guess. Tyler Warren, gone. But I feel like even so, I'd still take Genty. I feel like that's the guy I'd go for at Denver to be that force multiplier. Because if you can get open holes and you get Genty matched up one-on-one at second, third level, juking them out. Because, like, if you have a bad offensive line and you take Genty, if you're like the Steelers a few years ago with Najee, if there's no holes, a running back's not going to be 2 guys, NFL players. Yeah, maybe, like, in the back alley, you can do it. But, like, this ain't street fighting. We're not Spider-Man. This is real life. These are professional athletes. So, getting hit at or behind the line of scrimmage for running backs, doesn't matter how good you are. It's not until, like we talked about with Saquon, getting that good offensive line where you can get holes, where you can make the most of your talents to make guys miss. Meeting a guy one-on-one and getting away from that with time is significantly easier. And I think that's kind of what you'd want to do here for the Broncos. The Steelers, quarterback, wide receiver, DBs. Now, Broderick's moving to left tackle. You got Fatanu come back, hopefully healthy next year at right tackle. Your interior looks solid. James Allen's probably gone, but I think they're comfortable with McCormick going forward. Zach Frazier, one of the best young centers in the league. Sam Malo, left guard. Wide receiver, huge need. Also, DB, underratedly big. I hope Dante Jackson, if he comes back, it comes back as like a 4th corner. Dude was terrible. Quarterback, I mean, down the board dart throws, sure, right? Like, I like a Jackson dart throw. It's like he's like slightly better Kenny Pickett, but doesn't have bird bones. So maybe he's that move. Will Howard, I mean, I feel like the guy I'm about to take and friends are dragging him, and people are like, oh, is Will Howard a first-round draft pick? It's kind of crazy, but that's what good weapons do to quarterbacks. So Justin Fields is probably quarterback next year since, these guys aren't getting taken. I wouldn't mind a Jalen Milroe in the second if he does last that long, but he feels like he's just got so much talent, somebody's going to fall in love. I'm going to say Buka, right? You got to go there. Him and Jeremiah are just absolutely dominant there. Like, he's been overshadowed. So him being there at 21 is just 100% because, like, he's the number 2 there, but I don't know any college receiver that wouldn't be the number 2 in that offense. Okay, sure, comment section, Megatron. He wouldn't be the number 2 there as a guy coming out. So we're on to the Chargers. They have a good weapon on offense. They got good tackles. They need help. They might even lose both their edges, right? Bosa Mack might go away. I don't know. They could use a tight end. Would you reunite your Michigan love, your love Lind? I don't know. I feel like that's a good idea to get talent to help out. They could use running back, but I feel like I would want another receiver for my quarterback. Now, running backs, obviously, San Diego had a ton of great running backs through its run. LT into... Why can't I remember the guy right after LT? One guy went to Atlanta. That was the backup. They've had Gordon. They've had... Oh, my God. Okay, Chad, you'll have to let me know. But the LA Chargers... definitely could use one. I think I'm still going to go receiver. Matthew Golden spent most of his time out wide for Texas. Now, he's not like 6'5" or nothing. He's not like a big body, but pairing him up with Ladd, trying to get a second guy that can actually get open, and then like maybe go tight end in the second round, since I really like guys like Mason Taylor. Fannon's awesome. So there's some depth to the tight end class, but these guys might go higher than they're ranked here when people get more eyes on them. Let's go with a receiver instead of Colson Loveland there, to the Chargers. Green Bay. I think I actually gave him this guy last time. Now, do they think their edges are cooked? I mean, like, Van Ness ain't stepping up, man. Like, it's been a couple years. Let's get it together. Like, poop or get off the pot, as the old saying says. And then, like, did Gary get cooked? Was that the ACL? Is he done? Like, I don't know. Or do you believe in them? Because if you want an edge that can do something, this would be the round to do it. Usually edges down the board don't exactly light it up. There is some solid talent here if you want to get it. Otherwise, I think I'm going to go Jahdae Barron. Like, they say wide receiver here, but take that off the board in the first round. Green Bay don't do that, man. Like, it's the same. I guess technically the Steelers don't do that either. But, Omar is new. He's been there for 2 years drafting now, so... That's why I'm comfortable with it, but we've seen Green Bay have desperate needs of wide receiver and look elsewhere in a lot of drafts. So we're going to go corner, Jahdae Barron, to take over that Jair Alexander number 1 corner role for him, as he's got really good change of direction agility there for Texas. He's great in zone, and they got like a cover 3 scheme there, I believe, with their defense coordinator. The Vikings. Now, talk about defensive coordinator. I would like to get them a defensive player. I think their edges are all right. They couldn't even get their first round pick last year to get that much reps this year because their edges did so well. So wouldn't go there, even with Mike Green on the board. And he's rated really high in PFF now. I could see somebody like Kelvin Banks to help out your offensive line and your interior. But you know what? I like your tackles. You got your stud coming back next year. I think I'm going to take a force multiplier. I really do. I ended up taking them. I don't think PFS is up to date yet. Caleb Johnson. Reach down a state below you and grab Caleb. Move him up north. Okay? Caleb Johnson, running behind that line. JJ, those receiving weapons. That's going to be a great offense. So, I don't know. If you have the same defensive coordinator, I could see the move to corner. I really do. But Caleb Johnson, book it. I know you got Aaron for another year, but he's old. He could fall off in one game. Jones is always injured there. All right, the Texans. You desperately need help. Kelvin Banks, perfect solution for you. Give me that big backed brawler. Good job. Help CJ. All right, I like, what more do you need? No more analysis. Like, I could see the wide receiver with Tank basically gone next year, but you'll hope to hit one a little bit later. The Rams, man, their defense, it's so young, it stepped up. I'm almost worried to I'm almost okay not choosing more of their defense and letting them pick later because they've done so well at that spot. Colson Loveland would be a good choice here for them. Tackle of the future. Sure. If you reach down a little bit here. I think I'm going to go corner, though. Like, give them, hopefully, a lockdown corner to help that front four just get home. I think Fisk got injured. He'll be back by next year, obviously. I think it wasn't a knee thing. But he was on, the bike, so it wasn't torn. I'm going to go Ravel. The Rams have taken a lot of guys over the last year. Like, last year, two of my favorite prospects, Cam Kinchins was a third-round pick, and then I just said his name. I'm actually terrible. Was my favorite prospect in the second round too for them. So they've taken a lot of players I've enjoyed. What the Fisk? Oh man, Fox. Fisk was, I don't know if you guys were watching me then, but yeah, Fisk was, I love that guy. He was my number one DT last year. So, and Kinchins is a hard-hitting dude out there. You guys see that? Dude, just popping guys. Baltimore Ravens up next. They could use edge. I don't love receiver for them. Obviously, Bateman could be gone. Zay was hurt, which definitely hurt them. But, how many three receiver sets did they use? I would say replace your bum Mark Andrews. Now, you got Likely, but you run a lot of two tight end sets. Trade up and get Tyler Warren. Otherwise, someone like Colston makes a ton of sense for them. Gunner, Taylor, Fannin. Fannin feels like a Raven. I don't know why. He feels like a Raven to me. They always seem to draft smartly. So, the Ravens traditionally don't do finesse edge rushers. Mike Green's talent could be enough to get him change. But I'm going to give him more somebody up their alley and Scorton. Okay? And we're going to roll with that there. I think, Detroit just feels like a Jack Sawyer landing spot. Now, I'm really kind of questioning myself. Do I like JT or Jack better on the edge? Watching them on tape, I almost feel like JT Tuimoloau is he's just like a football player. He feels like he's going to get drafted in the second round to the Chargers and just be awesome. And we're like, whoa, why did people draft this guy? He feels he's great against the run. He's not like an explosive athlete against the pass. Don't get me there, but dude just makes plays for you. I don't know how to describe it. A winner. It's tough not for me not to put him in the first round. But I'm gonna go Jack Sawyer to the Lions. He's tall. He's bigger. He's 6'5". You know what? You know what's crazy is JT's also 6'5". Huh. He's not getting. I would take JT above Landon for sure. As a rock, it depends on what kind of rusher you want for the rest of them. I'm gonna go Jack Sawyer to Detroit. Give you an edge now. Then with Hutch coming back, that feels like a pretty solid defense once you get healthy. Hopefully you can stay there. Washington still in the hunt. Let's get your receiver. But it's crazy what one guy did. Completely revive the entire. Now, obviously, ownership change, coaching change, etc. One guy, one quarterback, change your entire team's fortune. The fact that you're picking the last 4 picks. Who would have thought last year when you're picking in the top 2? I'm gonna give you Jane Higgins. Okay, you got Terry. He's scary. Give me a bigger body, an outside guy. Jaden to Jaden just feels right. If you're looking at the rest of them, I'm a little bit lower on A.O. Manor than this ranking. Savion is he's like Cordarrelle Patterson, except a little taller. If you want to, Restrepo is a slot guy. Very small, but does get open a ton. Betch, hands of freaking glue. So I think Hayden as like a Jaden Higgins or Hayden Jiggins. I like that. Hayden Jiggins. That's funnier than it should be. Is not a bad weapon to add there. They need offense line. They need help across the board, dude. Like they could even go CB here because their first round pick from a couple years ago. They cut him earlier this year. Buffalo, wide receiver. Shakir kind of stood up. Keon, I don't know if I'd say that's need. I think they did okay against King Henry and friends. But you definitely do need interior. I would probably go there. Tyleek, he's like a pure nose. I don't know if that's worth a first rounder. I'm going to go with a CB, actually. Give me Trey Amos to the Bills. The Eagles, it just feels like such an Eagle thing. Oh, another Nolan Smith dropped. Boom. Mike Green, give him an edge. Here you go. A guy that was ranked 11th goes 31st. Seen this before. Eagles always feel like they get like a guy that drops to them. They always do a good job drafting it. Feel like the Eagles do that. The Ravens do that. Just take best talent that's there. And maybe that's why Gordon wasn't a good pick for them. I don't know. The Chiefs. They're really bad. Like you'd say, hey, the Chiefs need a tackle. The Chiefs are really bad, I feel like, at drafting tackles. I don't trust them. Okay? Just go ahead and sign somebody else's already. Hey, we got a Dan Moore for you, slightly used. But I love their interior, okay? I think a defensive lineman is a great choice, all right, for them. Tyleek, Walter feels great. I think I may even give Walter into the last draft for him, potentially, if I recall correctly. Ezeraku, really good move set. He knows the position of edge really well. He had like trillion sacks this year. How many actual sacks do they have? 14. 14 sacks this season. Pretty good. I'm actually, though, because I love their interior so much, their guard center guard combo, give me one. Omari and Hampton. I know they've made mistakes. End of the first round at running back before. Give me somebody that can get out there, set the tone since you want to be a run-first franchise. Maybe the receivers weren't everything you want at that spot. There was no Studley, Ladd, McConkey available for you there in your thoughts. So we're going to go Omari and Hampton and just play some bully ball. Okay, because this guy is twitched up. He's fun. He's going to get a lot of hype in the fantasy circles coming up here. So there's the first round pick. Let me know where I screwed up. And again, remember, Dallas, no Sanders, because Deion is there and he sent the memo out. I'm drafting my guy in the third round. If you draft him before then, you're losing your pick. He ain't playing for you. So there you go. That is the 3 Michigans. That's the draft. Let me know where I screwed up. What did I do wrong? Let me know what you guys have done different. All right, that's it. Bye.